super quickly about me and MSPbots, so you know where we come from. I was originally from China, being here for 21 years. I'm here in Chicago downtown, living here in Chicago for 21 years. Started multiple businesses. One of the business, of course, related to this one is I started learned the MSP, right, managed service provider, 2008 from Robin. I've been Robin, member as MSP for 14 years. But I
Okay.
was doing, I grown since 2009 to 2016. I grown my MSP from 0 to 1.7 million. We're making money. We're growing 30, 50% year by year. It's pretty awesome, but I really, really got burned out, right? I was like,
Uh-huh.
by the 2015, 14, 15, I was so frustrated and burned out. I hired a CEO. I said, I'm done, right? I left
Hmm.
by the 2016. Basically, I said, hey, if you maintain the 10, 15% net profit, I'll leave you alone. Do whatever you got to do. Right. So went
Hmm.
through all. So, and also, I mean, the Taylor Business Group, Robin, True Method group of members. So not only I have all those challenges, right?
Right.
Whack-a-mole every day, one phone call ruin your whole day. You have an employee, senior engineer show up, says, Daniel, we need to talk. Here's my 2 weeks notice. It ruins your
Hmm.
whole day, right? If
Yep.
you come to something, sometimes the star line, you were talking with the client and your employee work in says, it's too frustrated here. I'm leaving. I'm like, oh my God, kill me. Right. So I took a 3 year retirement, kind of like looking for what I'm going to do next. I did some angel investing. One company I invested, they do this called robotic process automation.
Okay.
I was, whoa, they do it for enterprise, right? I'm like, whoa, that's the one can solve a lot of the problem I had before. I wish I had that one. So I tried to work with them together, but they only focus on enterprise. I say, okay, I'll do it for the small businesses. Right. So I started developing MSP bots based on my painful 7 years experience. Initially, it was exciting. Later, it just like a torture every day. So ends up, combined with the what I learned from the software and my experience in the MSP. And I did some, marketing research with my friends to say if we have something like this, what do you guys think? Right. So 3 years later, we finally, after the beta, 6 months ago, we started selling it as a premium product, right? Everybody can sign up for free. Of course, there's a paid version. Currently, we have about 67 full-time employees,
Hmm.
more than 550 signed up. About 50 of them we start selling about 5 months ago. So right now we have 50 MSPs all over the world, right? We have the New Zealand, Australia, UK, US, Canada, of course, right? And every week we get 2, 3, new MSPs signing up. So we really started building this sales engine. That's Robin's trade show is actually our very first trade show.
Oh wow.
So we get a really, really, really good feedback. So for me, I don't have an investor. We probably put already $2 million into this. So this is my passion job, not something like a money grab. Otherwise,
Right.
I'm already retired. I don't need to, work 100 hours a week right now. But I'm having so much fun, especially when people like doing the demo. They, whoa, this is so cool, right? Stuff like
Right.
that. That's what
Okay.
I'm really chasing for. So
Awesome.
I'm gonna skip lots of this, right? I see, you're in the CEO position. I started with me, hire one person, two, six, seven, then dial back to the 4, 5, right? Those are what the. How many people you guys have?
32.
Okay, so you're much better. You already passed all those painful stage, right? I guess the early stage, Brian, you went through that. I was
Yes.
passionate. I said, "Oh, I love technology. I love how people. I love making money, right? Grow business, right?" But end of the day, I'm buried every day, right? Oh, this
Mhm.
employee got issue. That client got an issue. You double the number of the revenue clients. You need to double the number of the employee. You just quadruple, all the problems.
Hmm.
They cross reference each
Yeah, yeah,
other.
yeah.
it's not a linear. It's almost like a self-restraining. Something's holding you so bad, right? Every day, try to
Hmm.
knock you down, stop, right? Growing. I'm like, oh my God, right? It's like, and the technology is changing. Oh, you finally get everybody trained with the Exchange server. Here's Office 65, right? Oh, you think the Microsoft gonna be dead? Let's all move to the Google apps because Microsoft is doing awful job. Then suddenly
Hmm.
they're going, oh, let's move them back. It's like, oh my God, right?
Pulling your hair out every day. That's right.
Yeah, can I take a break? Right? Oh, someday you're so happy, you're coming, everything's fine. One phone call. Okay, this client got crypto. That client server crashed, right? Oh, there's 105 lawyer office. Their phone system is down. And we're the one responsible. I was like, oh.
Hmm.
So this is what the reasons, I said, okay, working so hard, right? Not justifying all those original goals I thought I'm gonna get where I left, and also echo to see what MSPots is trying to do is to eliminate or at least reduce the stress, remove some of those pain points, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, quickly there are a couple of areas. You guys already have a Power BI, so I'm gonna skip this. Right, start with the
Hmm.
small business, no BI. Now you have BI, but the problem with the BI is uh, Brigade give you actionable data, but who's taking the action, right? Even you're willing to pay people, say go watch it. How many actually really look at it every day, every hour, and take action and take correct actions, right?
Hmm.
It's a tons of work need to do. We have so many people. I talked with many people. They cancel the bright gauge not because it's not good. Is it nobody's using it? Or they cancel they pay bright gauge $500 when we did about 46 right now 44 46 bright gauge migration project. You know,
Hmm.
some of the client we say, hey, how many dashboard do you want to migrate? One. I'm like, on behalf of our data analyst team, thank you,
Yeah.
because it made their life much easier. But meantime, you pay $500 a month
And
for
used
what?
one dashboard. Yeah.
What? It's like, yeah, because that's the one on the TV. We kind of using it. The rest of nobody using it. Nobody maintain it. Nobody maintain it. The data is wrong. Data is wrong. Then nobody using it, right? It ends up, yeah, kind of like, should we cancel it? But we are using it. But are we really using it?
Right.
Right? It's just like a over. So this is one. I'll show you why. Early Brian mentioned, right? Why we are much better BI, but more importantly, we have the bots, to do the micro training one, right?
Okay.
So next one, this two actually a side project we did. I would assume with your guys' situation, you got a centralized dispatcher,
That's we
right?
do. Yes.
Yeah. So one dispatcher or
That's right. The
two?
only one
Like,
right now.
yeah. So this one, I'll show you how we do it. But typically, right, the ConnectWise training says, oh, you make sure you're Mr. Daniel dispatcher, right? You pinned the dispatch grain, right? You make sure everybody have enough job to do and have the sequence. Reality, when it's happened, the dispatch says, Daniel, you have 8 hours tomorrow. Here's 5 tickets for you. Then you perfectly finished 5 tickets according to that dispatcher design. Less than 1%.
Right.
Yet we're doing it every day, right? So we have a solution there, basically say using the algorithm to do the calculation. The feedback we get so far, they say we save about 80% of the dispatcher's time and hundreds times faster, more accurate dispatcher result, right? So it's not 100% more fast, it's 100 times. I'll let you judge when
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
the. Yeah. So the last one is we have this is kind of like initially we designed is to get the accurate utilization because most company use 8 hours as a
Hmm.
calculation denominator to do the which is inaccurate. Then COVID hit, we said, oh, everybody work from home. So we started doing say, hey, can we get something like a visibility, right? So those are the attendant. Then we tied the visibility with the utilization. There's some bots chasing. We say, this app have a huge help to boost the utilization and give people a visibility, right? So this is the overall the agenda, right? And of course,
Mhm.
this meeting is mainly for you, right? Whatever, if I'm talking something, is like, Daniel, this is okay. We're okay. Move on. Next one. Or, it's like, oh, tell me more about it. Interrupt me anytime you want.
Okay,
Cool.
very good. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Lots of other stuff I'm gonna skip, but I think the main fundamental, right? Like you're the baggage expert, so I think the baggage is kind of like doing this is called a data-driven decision making, right?
Hmm.
You kind of like all the data it's pulling from everywhere, then come end with the red, yellow, green on top of it, right? So say that's a decision. You're a dispatcher, you're doing awesome job. Our resolution time, our response time, resolution time should be awesome, right? You're awesome the technician. How do we know? Your utilization is high, you don't have late time entry, you don't have this, all the number green. So is this called data-driven decision making? We added extras bot-driven process automation, right? So I think this is the fundamental part.
Hmm.
So we use this one as a demo, right? So this is the when you log in, sign up. I know we had some questions, so we use synchronize with your Active Directory, get the user list, right? So
Okay.
we get the user list and we match with them with their ConnectWise username. So we say,
Hmm.
okay, so these are the people. Actually, this is what we get the user information and use 2FA to log in. That's all. We don't put anything else, right? Because you can verify in the Microsoft Azure with the permission we're looking for. We're just reading the user information. So there's a lot of other, like you can use the outside consultant, the client portal, which Brigade has. We made a lot of enhancement there. Let's start with the integration. This is very similar, or it's the same for the data source, right? As you can
Hmm.
see, have all this kind of stuff. The one you mentioned, we pretty much all have it, and we're developing about one or two new integrations every week, right? So average about a week, one per week. So it depends on how many people requesting. If it's a RESTful API, we can typically deliver it in 3 days. So this is nothing special. It's just like, oh, you authorize us for the data, right?
Hmm.
Then here's the start. We're getting better. I'm gonna use the Brigade because of course, one of the topic is a comparison between the Brigade and MSPbots, right?
Hmm.
So about 20-30% of the people they switch the bright gauge is because this, right? You use bright gauge. I think bright gauge standard is give the ConnectWise user 24 data sets, right? About
Yeah.
24. Yeah, and sometimes you can ask them create a couple of them, right? Say some people have more because they are on premise, they use SQL, create a
Right.
couple of extra set, right? Stuff like that. But we we only have 172, right? Why I say only? I'm not sure. Are you familiar with the ConnectWise RESTful API? Do you ever go there?
No, not really.
Uh,
I mean,
okay,
I understand it, but I'm not yet.
okay, yeah. So the reason I mentioned the only 172 because in the if you go to the ConnectWise RESTful API JSON file, they have more than 500 there, right?
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so give example, the couple, one of the client signed up because of this, right? It's like, yeah, he signed up the story is he signed up the Bright Gauge 1 month trial. The owner went to a meeting. I never found out which meeting. Then somebody said, "Oh, we just signed the Bright Gauge." Somebody said, "Oh, there's this company called MSPbots. They're much better." Right, the
Mm.
owner just messaged the service manager, go check this out company, this company called MSPbots. Some guy says they're better than Bright Gauge. So guy come in, did the demo, it's awesome. Is hey, Daniel, I'm gonna test you guys, right? Because I need a report just say last month all the invoice, the products, right? Which one, what's the percentage of the pie chart? I've been submit that ticket to Bright Gauge 2 weeks ago. I got nothing. Can you guys try? As a forward email, I sent it to my dev team. 20 minutes later, we created that one. He looked at it. It's like, this is exactly what I'm looking for, right? not because, well, of course, our data analysts, they're awesome, but mainly because we already have this data set, right? Already there, right? So this is the one, example says, you can, you know it, right? Without data set, there's nothing you can do about it,
Right.
right? And even the one you have the data set here, right? We can easily say, okay, which one is billable, not billable. You can do some super simple, data analyzing. If you know familiar with the pivot table, right? So you can just go super easily, create some of this kind of simple data analysis, right? Actually, I don't even know what I'm doing, but hey, I create a bunch of a bar chart, line chart without saving anything, because this is what we gave you the opportunity. You can just verify the data, right? Right here, sorting by it, right? Filter by it, right? All the filtering you can do. So quickly verify if the data we pulled from the integration is accurate or not. Because if the data is wrong, everything else doesn't matter, right? Everything's data driven. So this is kind of like a raw data we can give you there. So in summary here, right? So we have out of box for many of this. We already have way more data set. Oh yeah, I'll give you another one. This is like a stopwatch thing. I was talking with the client. He's like, oh, this is awesome. I have trouble. I don't know if you can pull this. We use stopwatch to monitoring if the user is working or not. I'm like, what? Last 14 years, I never heard anybody using that way. Then we look at together, we say, whoa, they actually have a data set, right? So yeah, this is the March 15th. We say, okay, you know what? They have the API. It took us 20 minutes with a junior developer to pull the API into this, right? So the summary is we have a lot of data set already, but if it's a API documentation, JSON file, right, is a 20 minutes junior tech we can put in. That's also the reason why we only have 172, because if you really calculate, if we put all those 500, that's still a lot of job, right? 20 minutes multiplied by what, 300? So nobody's asking, we don't actively pull it. Not only it costs longer, right? It's a memory, RAM, CPU, network, everything to pull some data. Nobody's asking, nobody's using, right? But on the other hand, if you say, oh, I want to analyze or automate something, right? We just say, hey, can we find it like the stopwatch? Can we find an API? Yes. Awesome. Let's pull a data set. 20 minutes, get it done, published. Now you have a data set. You can start the journey, right? Create this, what we call the widgets, right? We call it widgets, and in the ConnectWise, they call, but in the Brightgauge, called it gauges, right? Right. So same thing, right? You out the box. If you go to the ConnectWise manage, right? I think we got about 400 widgets already, right? 485, and this number is keep going up, right? The difference here is we look at the stuff we're working with all those MSPs. If somebody says, this is can you guys design this one? We look at it. Yeah, we can. And this is a good idea. I think other people can also need it, right? Then we just not only do that for that company, and we publish in the library. And we have another function is literally in the development right now, is if you create something, we even kind of like create this GitLab, that kind of idea, right? GitHub, that kind of idea. You can upload your own, share it to the community. We will do a review. Then, you can share it. Initially, we say, okay, it's just like open share, right? It's a, contribution. But then we're talking about maybe some monetary, right? Hey, you spend 3 hours creating this beautiful widgets. You write some like description, screenshot. You say, this is cool. I think other people are going to use it. You upload it here, sell it for $10, right? $10. If I'm a business owner, I'm like, what? I can get that for $10? Oh my God, sign me up. But hey, if you can sell if a 10,000 company or if 1,000 company download, hey, that's 3 hours of your work. Just made you $10,000, right? Why not? So there may be some even third party. We're working with Paxit, C-Lever, Sierra Pacific, Connect Strat, right? The Burr McKinley. So they might even go in, do it as a business, right? To develop stuff. But the short term, right, is all we're doing it and we help the MSP doing it, and you can do it by yourself, right? Like we have this 15. Oh, they released a new one. I don't know which one is a new one. There's a 16 of this this kind of yeah, because yesterday was 15. Yeah, it's 16 of the widgets there. But we also say, what if that 16 is not enough? This is what we use our back end. So it's a Apache, project. They have this sub project called eCharts. So
Okay.
it's a total open source visualization library, right? So you get like a couple hundreds, all kinds of all kinds of this data visualization. So our goal is to say, if you have an idea, you want to visualize it, we'll be able to support it. So anything like this one, right? So if you have a use case, and we can get the data from anywhere, right? SQL, API, then you say, here's my data, here's my use case, and we have the full source code. It takes us just 3 days to develop one of this, make it number 17, right? So, but again, we don't just go there, make 300 all available. It's also, on demand base, right? If you say, oh, this is a pretty cool, hey, I like this calendar, here's my use case. If I can measure this by this way, it can be really useful. Our product owner look at it and say, yeah, that makes sense. We might even ask a couple of other MSP. We're doing the weekly meetings. We say, hey, what do you guys think? Everybody like, whoa, that would be awesome. And it's sent to the development, 3 days, right? We can push this open, right? So this is part of, we say, okay, now it's from the data set to widget and the dashboard. So the dashboard, I'm going to show you this way, right? So you use ConnectWise. Once you sign up, it takes about 2 hours to do the data sync, right? So it's synchronize the data. Once the data is synchronized, then you're going to get all this dashboard pre-built, right? Right out the box, right? Similar like a bright gauge, it's always give, the pre-built stuff, right? So in this one, we say we pretty much, this is a similar integration, data set, gauge, dashboard, reports, right?
Yep.
So same, but we did a lot of nuance stuff, right? So for example, this is a template. You can clone this one if you want to modify, right? So when you clone it, it become like come to the my dashboard section, right? So all this cloned one, right? I open the clone one. So looks very similar. You can do the single rotating not because it's not by accident, because the people asking for it, we developing it, but a lot of nuances, right? That Baggage doesn't have. Because a couple months ago when we first started, we're like, okay, we can do some kind of dashboard. Actually, we started bots first. Then we try to trigger the bots. Then the people say, can you use the bright gauge data? We reach out the bright gauge. Bright gauge says, no, we don't have an API. No, we have no intention to share our data with anyone. So kind of like a forced to do our own, right? Our first version, then second version, then start people asking. We say, oh, we can actually do a lot of stuff. People say, no, you cannot do this. Therefore, I cannot cancel my bright gauge. Okay, give us 3 weeks, right? Then that went down. Then that guy says, no, I'm missing that feature, right? So give example, some of the nuances. Like this one, we have a company, they have 167 user company, pretty decent, because I remember because they're kind of like a big, right? Like 3 months ago, their their head said, oh, this is awesome, but they're a division of a 500-person company, MSP division, right? So like, we need to go through a lot of improvement, auditing, CSO, in order to do all this kind of stuff. I'll put you guys in, on the back burner right now. I'll reach out to you when I saw, we lost that client. Then 4 weeks ago, he come back, it's like send an email, say, Daniel, one thing, can you change this URL from ConnectWise, to go to the manage to Cloud Radio? I say, yes, we can, because we just released that 3 weeks ago because one cloud radio client asking. They said, okay, we're done. We're moving. I said, oh, okay. So it's like, okay, let me schedule a meeting. So I want you to show me how it's get done, right? I said, okay, come here, do this. Here's a hyperlink of the ticket number. Click this, then drop down this one. For example, you said where you want to switch to, right? You want to switch to the ticket number. Yeah, here, do this, remove this, right? HTTPS, xx.cloud
Radio.
radio,
Yeah.
radio, whatever. You guys use the cloud radio?
We
Okay.
are in the process of implementing cloud radio, so this would be huge.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So all you need to do is that's it. Right. He saw this one and said it's done. Right. So again, not because we're so smart, so awesome. It just some people asked, right? So before him, somebody like, yeah, they have this problem. You give the client the dashboard, they click this one, then they click this link. They say,
They
"Where's my
try to go to
connect
connect once.
login?"
Yeah.
Right? It's like, no, 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 you don't click that. That's not for you. But
Right.
because they're a big company, they have a lot of people asking, right? They just one day like, I'm tired of. They ask a bracket, can you even just remove it, right? Nope. So then we say, so a lot of small nuances like this, right? We are willing to go in, just make the development. So I'm not going to go through those. And so we're very actively, those 30 some developers, right? Every day is making the new improvement, all that kind of stuff, right? So all those, like we developed for them, same thing for them, right? The client portal, they have about hundreds company. So when they give the client access, they need to make a copy and make copy and make copy, one per company, right? We did is automatically. We said this is a token. We already know the client email address. Through the email address, we can find the company. Then we filter the data with the company. Then you only have 3 templates, right? You can have 500 companies, right? Why it's like, yes, right? So those are the sense we're doing a lot. When we and also people say, hey, this dashboard we cannot do. Hey, can you put more than 210 days data, right? We're like, why not?
Right.
Because Bragg been asking them for 3 years, right? We said, yeah, we do ask you the use case, right? Why? We can put 15 years. It's just like a resource ROI calculation, right? Why do you need a 15 years data? Maybe we can give you a 1 year summary, like during the weekend, night, weekend, the server is not busy. We pull the 1 year data, do a summary, then remove all the detail. Nobody cares. 14 years ago, that Wednesday afternoon, 2:30, what happened with that ticket? They just want a summary data. So every single time people ask, yeah, you're right. I just need a summary. That's all I need. Then we can do that summary. It take a couple bytes,
Right.
save it in the database, discard the data, and that's become the history. You never need to do that again. It's a one-time job. Then for sure we can do it. And even the back end, we have the Python engine, Java engine. I was like a imaginary situation. You say, oh, my cousin is a PhD in the statistics of the MIT, right? He created this Python code to run my last 15 years of revenue analysis. He did it 10,000 times, use a Monte Carlo tree, R, to predict what's the next 3 months or 3 years our revenue going to be. We'll be like, awesome. You have the code. We can inject into our back end. Then we can give you a data set. Because at the end of the day, whatever how complicated manipulation of the data, right? It's like, what's the next 3 years rev? It's just 3 revenue number. That's it, right? It's a new data set, right? So that's how we can back end. We have a way more sophisticated engine, and we can accommodate, OpenAI. You use a Google TensorFlow, right? We have all those engine built. We just need the use case and more data, right, to really make sense, right? So typically by here, that 50% people, they're like, okay, I'm done. Either because, data set, cloud radio, visualization, right? Mesh the data. Or, one company says, what? you can do, when we do the data filtering, right? So we can do this grouping, right? So you can do this add group, then add condition, then you can select and all. It's like that's the
Mm.
only reason, right? I can add this, and then all this, and then add another one, then all another one. I'm signing up, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
here, there, all the stuff, right? But typically by this time, we say about 50% people says that, for whatever all this reason combined, you guys are a much better version, compared to a breakage. I'm signing up. The other 50% are like, yeah, I can see your point. It is awesome, but I'm pretty happy with the breakage. It's a lot of work to switch, right? Even though I don't have any of those immediate needs, and
Hmm.
this is typically the one push them over, right? And also even include, actually, we have three clients that get a full version breakage for free from the ConnectWise command program, right? They give the full version for free. They
Yeah.
eventually did the migration. Here's why. What the heck is this bot means, right? So this is what the pinpoint a lot of people. I get one company says, "Hey, I have 15 TVs on the around my big, bullpen, right? That's awesome. Who's watching it? Well, I'm watching it, whenever I work by, I look at it, right? It's keywords is whenever, right? And the technician, they're supposed to, right? So end of the day, here's the thing, right? You have a team lead, you, Brian, everybody. The official training is, hey, Daniel, you are the one watching this for 15 numbers, right? So I want
Hmm.
you to spend probably like 2 hours a day in total, spread it between, every 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I want you to look at it, say, oh, this number become red, something's wrong, right? So click it and go figure out, oh, this is John, this is Daniel, this is Kevin, right? Go tap on their shoulder, tell them what happened, why it's important, and what they should do. And if they all fix their stuff, then this one go back to green. And do it every single day. Right? I'm willing to pay you $30 an hour, allocate 2 hours of your day, right, to do it, or 3 hours. How many people actually execute that? From my survey, less than 5% people say, yes, my service manager doing that. Whoa, you find the unicorn, right?
Right.
Number one, it's a very expensive, rarely get done. And even you find the unicorn, that's $100 a day, right?
Right.
20 some days a month. How much it costs you, right? So here we create this one. We use this one we call the bots, right?
Hmm.
To give you to mimic how you train hire people to do it, right? So instead of say, Daniel, you're hired as a team lead to watch this one, we say let's create a bot. I show you quickly. We call it this micro training bots, right? They're multifaceted, methodologies to get it done.
Hmm.
So yeah, like for the breakage user, we do this. We call it the free. We do the free migration, right? Whatever all the stuff you're using, we migrate all your the dashboard the way exactly how it looked like. Move
Hmm.
to, we offer that free migration. So and anything we migrated, you can just click create bots, right? So if you look at it here, I want the bots trigger when this widget called bridge resolution
Hmm.
is more than zero, right?
Right.
Which is the definition of the red.
Right.
And I want it to repeat. Please check it every 5 minutes between the 8 to right whatever,
8 to 5.
and
Yep.
yeah, Monday through Friday, or sometimes it's maybe Saturday. Well, you don't work
Hmm.
Saturday, okay? Let's remove Saturday, right?
Right.
So this is a typical your standard training, right? So it basically what do you want about it? What is considered as a problem, and how often I should check it, and when, which time frame I should check it, right? But if you here you can see, remember we have about 470 some of the widgets, 80,
Hmm.
and also whatever your gauge is, we can also put in. So you can select anything here, right? If it's a widget, we can mount in it, right? So anywhere of those 30 some integrations, right? 30 integrations, any widgets, what's going on? Any widgets And remember,
Mm-hmm.
we have only 170 data set or anything in the system, right? We can
Mm-hmm.
say any of this, right? Expenses, right? So you say, what is wrong with the expense? If the company name equals this, and whatever, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
invoiced, right? You get the point, right?
Yep.
Any data, any criteria, or if you have a machine learning, we're actually working on right now, right? When people send you an email, create a ticket, or they updated the time entry is a closed loop, we can do a sentiment analysis, right? Which is there are tons of open source or the APIs available. We have 83% confidence that this client is agitated, frustrated, angry, happy, right? You saw those stuff everywhere now, right? It's just easy to do. We can say if the time entry sentiment, right, is 83%, 80% higher confident as annoyed, right? Then send the management dispatcher or the team leads up, right? Or something
Mm.
like the QuickBooks bill wasn't paid for 12 days. Server has been offline for more than 2 hours. Oh, in the ConnectWise agreement, we have a two total care server management, but in the Vim backup, they only have one server backed up.
Mm-hmm.
Likely, right? You charge people 400 and you're not doing the backup? Seriously? Right? So something, anything you can describe. Of course, some are super easy, right? Is the time entry late or not? Super simple. But something like combine the two data set is more difficult. But it can be done, right? It's just a
Hmm.
time commitment, right? So any data, any criteria, well,
Any
we have
schedule.
this advanced, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
literally any minutes, any hours, right? You can say, oh, I only wanted to blah blah hour, or even you
Mm-hmm.
say only the 6 o'clock, 13 and 20. I don't know why you do that, but it's 3 times a day, right? You want
Right.
to happen. So whatever data, whatever criteria, even include machine learning or combined multiples, three, four. Uh, hey, QuickBooks says they're unpaid, and but QuickBooks says they're paid, and their data set, their server is managed, and the backup is not happening. Oh, by the way, this client agreement is more than 30 days because it's first 30 days, maybe it's onboarding. Therefore, the backup is not set up yet. That's
Yeah.
fine, right? So whatever you can clearly define it, we can trigger. That makes sense here?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So now, you hire this bot, right? You'll say, uh-oh, that number is red. Whatever reason, right? Whatever the background. The number is red. Now what?
Mm-hmm.
Like you or brand, any owner, any management, you don't go there just, oh, let me just fix it, right? You go there, reach out, hey, Daniel, John, Joe, Mary, what's going on, right?
Right.
So because you can clearly define the criteria, so here you know exactly who should be notified, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not a generic like, oh, click that one, find out who's responsible. You already know who's responsible,
Right.
right? So you can say, oh, it's a ticket updated by, or it's like a time entry created by, or you say, oh, you're the service dispatcher, you're the manager,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, right?
Right.
So whoever it is, then you can use this one as something like, okay, you can use tokens, right? Whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So our suggest, of course, you can use something like, hey, Daniel, dumbass, go get the job done, right? Don't do that, right? Joke aside, point is that you can do whatever you want, right? But
Mm-hmm.
our suggested is what happened, why it's important, right? And
Right.
how you should fix it. This is our standard. We say how you compile your message to make it more meaningful,
Right.
right? I'll give you a couple of examples. We have generating our environment, right? Hey, you forgot to write the time entry, next step in
Mm-hmm.
time entry, right? So some other stuff. You're in progress for too long. You're level one tech. You are researching this ticket for 67 minutes. Stop.
Mm-hmm. Escalate the ticket now, right?
Escalate, right? We're chasing them. It's like, please escalate. Stop researching. Your level two
Mm-hmm.
tag maybe only take 5 minutes can solve it. You already wasted an hour, right? So something like this. So this is what happened, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is undisputable fact, right? If you
Right.
don't believe me, go click it. It will go to the ConnectWise to show you, right? So this is what happened. You have a time entry is late for 7 minutes. Why? I'm receiving the message, and why should I care? Because always explain why, right? Because once
Right.
people understand why, they're much more likely they're gonna follow the instruction, right? Then
Right.
you have the how. We give you this example. This is a 2 minutes video, right? We show people, step by step, right? This one, we give you as example, but the easy one is there are tons of screen capture tools, free ones, paid ones. Some of them you can even put your heads here, right? The webcam with your head. So think
Mm-hmm.
many times you do what you do is you go there, you say, oh man, Daniel made that mistake again. You walk to the Daniel's desk. I see Daniel, see that number turned red because you did something or you didn't do something, right? So give me your keyboard and mouse. Let me show you. You say, if you go to the ConnectWise here, click at this, then click
Mm-hmm.
here, right? Make sure you do this. Be careful about this one, right? If this situation, you do this, that situation. In this case, we don't even suggest you say, if this situation, you do this. If that situation, you do that. Why? Because you know exactly what the situation.
Right.
Okay? Don't make the technicians think. It's just like this is what exactly what happened. This is exactly what you need to do. Because every time if you say, oh, if this, you do this. If that, you do that. But if this happened, then you just get people confused, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just made it more difficult for people to learn. And it takes longer. This video going to become longer and longer every time you say, if this, then you do that.
Right.
Because you know exactly what happened. So we suggest you just, this is what happened. This is exactly what you need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Therefore, this is only 2
2
minutes.
minutes.
So it's not those 1 hour training. People probably would start wondering, when the happy hour or the 20 minutes along the way, right? The mind is already wandered somewhere else, right? So this is why what do we call the micro training, which be considered the Z best training you can offer, not one of Z. It's the Z best training you can give to the employees for the
Mm-hmm.
in the job training, right? There's two key component here. Number one, this is because it's real time, right? It's very close, or a couple minutes, or in a couple hours when people made a mistake, right? Psychologists or the neurologists already researched this. Whatever you're training your kids, your pet, your employee, same thing. You don't tell your dog, hey, bad dog, last Monday you pooped in the living room, right?
Yeah.
Like confused, like what are you saying? But it's just like the closer you can give people feedback, right? The sooner you can give people feedback, people are easier to create
Yeah.
those neural links, right? Oh, they correlate the stuff. The memory is all about the neural link, right? Or
Right.
because of this, I remember that, right? So they establish that, oh, immediately I made a time entry, 10 seconds later, bam, the MS boss says, I was wrong, and here's how, here's why. Oh, okay. That's much easier for people to correlate these two things. Number two, because it's very specific, right? So it's a short, right? The smaller content, the easier to digest. Everybody have this attention span. Some people it's probably an hour, but many people probably like 5 minutes, right? So the shorter you can provide, the more precise and shorter you can provide the content, is easier for people to remember. Yeah, it's very difficult to remember 1 hour training. It should be pretty easy to remember 5 minutes training, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so this is today's world, right? I guess you guys probably suffer the same thing. In my peer group, everybody have challenge to find the good employees, right? Hire is a big problem. So they start hiring the high school kids, right? In order to do the job. So this is what's the best for the new employee. Instead of give them 5 days ConnectWise university training, which they probably only remembered 5% by the end of the day, right? If the
We
super
do that.
smart one, remember like 20%, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, you really remember 20%? Oh my God, right? But sorry, Monday go start using ConnectWise, right? Then next 3 months, they're useless. They're actually not beyond the useless because they create a lot of problems for you.
Right.
But that's just the reality. But think about it, we're working, we have this engine, right? Where our goal is to get 100. Right now, we only have 30, 40 bots, but our goal is a couple hundred bots, right? You start only turn on this certain with the new employees. When the Jason made the very first late time entry, bots, boom, is there. And Jason is a good kid, right? Willing to learn, want to learn, right? Really passionate about entering the IT industry. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is this 5 minutes, right? Jason understand English. Jason willing to invest 5 minutes. Oh, I remember. It's kind of like I mentioned. If anything's
Mm-hmm.
standing, you can ask, right? Then the good part, the boss is 24/7, no vacation, no sick time, treat everybody same, and no capacity issue.
Right.
We have 200 employees in our MSP, right? They treat everybody same. It's not like, oh, I got too busy. I let you slide this time,
Right.
right? But Jason gonna get punted every single time. It takes 21 days, right? You probably heard it to form a new habit, right? If Jason want to learn, willing to learn, it's gonna be first he made a couple of, oh man, Tom, why I did it again? Oh my God, I'll be careful. Then bam, it's again. But you can see it's less and less and less. 2, 3 weeks later, Jason just become a subconscious habit. He doesn't even think about it anymore because he just do it the correct way, new habit form. What if Jason is not a, you probably have those employees that are like, what? It's only 8 hours from my happy hour. I still 8 hours away from my happy. Don't care about the bots, right? They don't even care about the other managers sometimes.
Right.
So this is where we say we get the step 3. We say, what's the threshold? Even your best employee make mistakes. You don't want to be on that every single time, right? You made a couple of mistakes. Who cares? You're human. All human make mistakes. So you can set this threshold per day, per week, per month, right? How
Mm-hmm.
often, how many mistakes or these bots you can trigger before we said, nah, it's not good, right? Whatever. It's a 3, it's a 30, it's 13, whatever you want to do. Then when it's get reach that threshold, the level 1 with like bots to say, hey, Daniel, you keep triggering these bots. Are you sure you know what you're doing? If you need help, can you reach out to your manager? Right? Otherwise, the system will notify your manager after 6 times. Right? Then you
Mm-hmm.
step 2. The step 2 start kick in. Right? Hey, this is the 6 times or whatever, 10 times, 15 times. It
Mm-hmm.
starts between the team leads.
No. Right.
Right? Then service manager, director IT, business owner, owner's wife, right?
Right.
Whatever, or HR, right? So HR started writing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But the bottom line is just because the employees get busy, don't care, team leads on vacation, then the problem doesn't exist anymore. End of the day, as a COO, when client is screaming over the phone, they're not going to say, "Oh, Danny was sick. Okay, don't worry about it. My
Yeah.
problem
No.
isn't." I don't care, right? You're still the one being responsible. So we said, rather nobody say anything, it's better you get notified. But you want to make sure, right? So those that only reach you after 13 threshold. You give
Mm-hmm.
the team leads the opportunity to fix it first before it reach you.
Right.
So it's the kind of so this is what we said. Some people call it as mini me, right? So be there meanings, right? So you have all the bots. You can create, as you can see, hundreds of them, right? Doing the job for you, 24/7, no attitude, no capacity issue, barely making any mistake, and do exactly what you
When you
said
tell it.
every single
Yeah.
time, and no matter how many employees you have, right?
Daniel, do you guys have a bunch of pre-built bots? Like, are these pre-built
Yes.
with the language and everything? So,
Yeah, those are, this is the next step, like this kind
Uh-huh.
of chasing for the utilization,
Yeah.
right? And you didn't attach the configuration.
Hmm.
So open honestly,